So this is our Age of Ultron review. Hopefully you've seen it, Avengers, Age of Ultron. It's been out for a while now, so I am going to warn you there are spoilers in this. So again, if you haven't seen it and you've been living under a rock, do not watch this video.
If you do, it's your fault.
Exactly, you've been warned. This movie is the sequel to the Avengers, which was great, them fighting Loki. This time they're fighting Ultron, a robot that Tony Stark has created, so they've created their own enemy. That'll happen. And it's a fantastic movie as far as superhero movies go. I mean, I was pretty pleased with it. It's all the people you've loved from the Avengers, and plus more. Even Falcon.
Some of the people you didn't love from the Avengers
yes, right.
too.
Yes, all except Loki. He does not show up in this one.
No.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'll let you guys go first.
We are the more resident nerds when it comes to superhero things.
No, I don't want to.
Dan, you have some super things.
Don't say that though.
I feel like it's true.
You can decide for yourself.
You can decide for yourself.
I'm not all superheroes, but Marvel for sure.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you have a special place for X-Men, but that's a whole other
different thing.
It is
another day.
Yes.
Well, to start off, I love Joss Whedon. And if you don't love Joss Whedon, you're not going to like these movies as much because every character is a Joss Whedon character. They're the same characters from Buffy and Firefly. And again, for me, that's great. I want all of that.
And I never watched those, but I've appreciated everything he's done up to this point, so therefore I've bonded with him just through the superhero movies.
It's very much his child, his project.
It is.
And you know, if you've seen Buffy particularly or Firefly, I haven't seen Dollhouse unfortunately, but you know that he can do action sequences in his own unique way where it's still his kind of humor, his kind of these different homages to different types of filmmaking, and it comes out as this wholly unique thing. And that's kind of a gamble, especially with the first Avengers, to have someone like Joss Whedon doing such a huge franchise, but he knocks it out of the park. He knows exactly how to get these characters to mix together and have fun.
Okay.
What do you think, Dan?
I didn't love it.
Are you going to do a rating? You might sound like you're about to launch into a rating.
I mean, my rating for this movie, I think I gave it a 7.0 out of 10, which is it's fair. It's good. I liked it. You know, I enjoyed myself during this movie, but it's kind of, you know, we're maybe 3 weeks out from seeing it now, and I'm just kind of meh about it. And, you know, I know we say we love the first Avengers, but I love the first Avengers, the second half of it. The first half of it, for me, it's fine.
You're talking about the first Avengers.
The first Avengers, up until that final battle, it's okay. It's good. It's cool to see the heroes together. But other than that, it's just kind of it's fine, you know. The final battle is great. Because this way.
Can I jump on them?
I just feel like we're both about to flip out a little bit.
So the final battle is great in the first Avengers because you're seeing all these heroes together for the first time. That's awesome. It was really cool when I saw it. I went and saw the movie maybe 3 times in the first week. I loved it. And then you see this one, it's the same thing. It's still kind of cool, but it's diminishing returns. It's just not as good. It's just, this movie, for me, I enjoyed it while I was in the theater, and as soon as I got out of it, I remembered very little of it. There weren't any lines that stood out to me. There weren't any cool moments. There were a few maybe cool moments, but it's just kind of like, do I need to see it again? No, I haven't seen it again, and I probably won't until it's probably on, you know, FX in 2 years on cable.
Oh, you'll watch it on Blu-ray.
On the other side, I have seen it 4 times.
Yeah, I've seen it 2 times. I'm in the middle. I feel good about that.
And I definitely get what you're saying. Like, it doesn't have the same kind of effect.
What's your rating on this?
My rating is amazing. It's my highest rating, and the movie is definitely not perfect. There are actually a lot of flaws, particularly anything involving Thor, because he's not a character in this movie.
That's one of the biggest criticisms.
He's got a lot of holes in this movie.
He is my favorite Avenger. Thor is, and he's probably the least on screen of any of the Avengers.
Hawkeye they really don't use him that much.
Vision has more screen time. Yeah. The Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver has more screen time. Like, Thor is my guy. Where is he? He's
well, and that part falls to Marvel because they forced Joss Whedon to keep it in, because they want to set up.
so many people to juggle. Yeah. So many people. Someone's going to get
that's
lost
the problem
in
with
the
a franchise like
It is.
this.
That is one of the Achilles' heels.
But before we move on, I do want to say one thing. Like I said, the movie is not perfect, but the reason it gets an amazing is just because it's so damn fun. It's these characters that I love. It's these characters that, you know, I enjoy them in their own movies, but when they're together, and again with that Joss Whedon quick wit, it's just enjoyable. Like I said, I've seen it 4 times, haven't gotten bored of it. You know.
Yeah, but it's a fun and like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of fun.
Well, it's a cartoon basically.
I know, but it's not one of those things you're gonna see, you're gonna enjoy, and you're just gonna forget about the next day.
Well, yeah, it's not an Academy Award winning movie. It is what it is. It is what it is.
But you know, that first Iron Man was something more than this. And in the first Avengers, was something more. Parts of the Winter Soldier were something more than that. It was, they can do so much more with it. I feel like they just kind of phoned it in a little bit. On this one.
I got to tell you my rating. I am a 4 out of 5, which is surprising because usually I tend to agree more with Tom when it comes to superhero movies. Like that was the best, but for me, the Avengers is like a 5-star movie. This is a 4-star movie. It was great seeing them all together again, but it doesn't have the same shine as seeing them together for the first time. And there were little things that I would nitpick about. I mean, I gave 5 out of 5 to Guardians of the Galaxy because that all around was introducing. I love the music. I love the shots and everything. This was just more of something good, but I'm not going to give it that 5 out of 5 like I did for the original.
I mean, I definitely agree that it doesn't hold a candle to the first Avengers.
No.
I mean,
and that's really not fair, though, but 4 out of 5. That's what I say.
Again, it's just, I enjoyed the hell out of it, and it just comes down to that for my rating anyway.
It's fun. It's very fun.
More specifically about the movie, I personally, in the first Avengers, hated Black Widow.
Oh, yeah.
Totally just bored by her. She was annoying. She had terrible comic timing.
Well, this whole movie just kind of tries to fill in the gaps with Black Widow and Hawkeye, wouldn't you say? Trying to make up for...
Right, and Hawkeye wasn't a character in the first one either, but there's not a single character in the second one that I didn't like. I mean, the introduction of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch I thought was great.
Handled really well.
Quicksilver didn't get to do much.
He ran.
He ran. He sure ran. But, yeah, I mean, I actually really loved Black Widow in this one. I thought she was kick-ass. She was funny. She fit in with the team. And Hawkeye obviously was very important.
I don't want to dwell on it too much, but if you wanted to just give what you feel, what do you feel about with the whole Black Widow? Do you feel like her character was diminished by any of that childbirth stuff? Or do you think that was just a hype train? As quick as possible.
I will get very angry about this if we go at length. I think that the people who say that Joss Whedon ruined her character, that it was, misogynist for having her focus on childbirth, completely missed the point of the scene. I think that it was more focused on the fact that she was raised solely for murdering people, When she says, I'm a monster, it's not because she can't have kids, it's because she is a murder weapon.
I agree with you pretty much on that. Do you disagree?
I'm just going to change subjects completely. So
fine.
I didn't even want to get into that.
Fine. Hey, it's something people talk about this movie, though.
It is, and I didn't think of it watching it. It's just not...
Yeah, well...
I think one of the reasons I wasn't completely sold on this movie is because they sold it to me wrong. I read an interview with Joss Whedon like a year ago saying how they were studying sequels like Godfather Part 2 and Empire Strikes Back. They're going for a darker side of the Avengers. I remember him talking about how they wanted to make these characters we like in the first movie show this some kind of dark side. And then they show the trailer with Tony Stark making Ultron. Like, that's a cool concept. Like, this guy's trying to do good, it turns evil, and his ego kind of gets in the way of it. And maybe you see the Avengers turning on each other. We saw that trailer that was really dark. The first trailer where it shows it's got the Got No Strings on Me and really cool music, and it's got the shots of Black Widow's like ballet, and it's like, oh my gosh, we're finally gonna get some like gritty.
That's pretty gritty. That whole scene with Black Widow is pretty gritty.
It is.
It is the grittiest we've seen, wouldn't you say?
But that trailer sold it as this movie is gonna be like that. That's the tone of this movie. And I'm not saying that they should have been totally gritty because it's not fitting in the universe. No. But I feel like it's winking too much to the camera. It's having too much fun where I just didn't feel invested in these characters. I mean, it's fun to laugh with them, but they're just not. I never felt like, oh, I'm like my heart's racing because I really want them to succeed. It's like they're having fun, they're going to succeed, and then we already know that there's 2 more Avengers movies coming out, so they're not going to like kill anybody off.
They have to be careful, because I mean, I know you want grittiness, but it's not going to be like The Dark Knight.
No, I don't want it to be.
It's got to be is equally fun and lighthearted as it is gritty.
Well,
so therefore, I can't watch a trailer and be like, oh, this is going to be super gritty, because they're never going to go super gritty.
I don't know. I mean, actually, I'm kind of with Dan. They did sell it as this like dark. This is the Avengers, you know, after all the fun stuff.
And maybe they'll do it in Civil War. I'm
yeah,
hoping they
that will be the darkest.
I mean, I agree. Ultron never even felt like a threat to me.
Ultron was the funniest part of the movie, and that was a problem for me. I mean, Loki was kind of fun, but if you're gonna sell him as like this mass murderer robot,
I would say Loki was darker than.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was the right choice.
So
as much as I love James Spader, I like James Spader a lot.
Yeah,
he did.
Fantastic.
He did great.
He knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. It wasn't quite the dark side of the Avengers that we were promised.
No.
Again, it's just fun.
Yeah, I loved it.
I'm so happy that you had a good time. And I did too.
4 times is too much. I can't talk.
I went with people that hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Well, I was with you one of the times to call you out.
I was just enjoying family time.
Well, one of the things, since we said there was a spoiler, are you happy with Quicksilver being killed?
Didn't care.
Didn't care? Didn't bond enough with him, did you?
No, I think he wasn't as good as the one from Days of Future Past.
No.
And, you know, someone had to die in this.
That was his purpose.
Someone had to die.
And he was the guy.
So I feel like I'm cheated on that almost.
I would have preferred someone more higher up dying, honestly. Maybe, you know,
who would you have had die then?
Hawkeye. They built Hawkeye up as his character. I would have felt the Hawkeye death a lot more.
I felt super bad that he never had a part in the first Avengers, and then they tried to give him a story and killed him and be like,
I don't know. I mean, with the introduction of the family, I was sure it was Hawkeye.
Yeah, and they really set that up. Look at my son and my wife that I love.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you definitely don't feel like there's any of these huge stakes. It's kind of like when, you know, Coulson dies back in the first Avengers, and then
when he dies,
yeah, and then he's brought back. There's no consequences because it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the comics are the same way.
Wheaton did not want him to come back.
No, I saw that.
He was like, "No, thank you."
But
that's what happened. Yeah, he didn't plan on that.
It's definitely like it's not the high stakes thing, but that's not what I wanted out of it.
Yeah.
What I want in the next Marvel movie and any Marvel movies coming out.
Sure.
So like the last, I don't know how many movies now. The main villain of the movie has been he's been some kind of antithesis of the hero. Mm-hmm. Like if that hero didn't exist, that villain wouldn't exist.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept in superheroes in general. Like, the whole idea of Batman is like all these crazy people coming out after Batman because Batman exists, or is Batman finding it's like you know that thing. But it's like I want to see in these movies the regular people in this universe like saying like, okay, the whole reason that Loki is here was because of the Avengers. The whole reason Ultron was here is because of the Avengers. Like,
well,
they're
some
causing all these
problems.
That.
A lot of stuff, if you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you do get to see those people.
I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And they're pretty mad. You should watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Second season is great.
First season, you're not going to be sure, but the end pays off.
But that's kind of what Thanos is doing in the upcoming. I mean, he's something that is happening not because of the Avengers, but I mean, he's definitely seeing what they're doing.
True.
So that's a little different than the.
It's not really a serious point. I just thought it was.
I
thought it was
but
funny.
that's a really I don't know if I like that because that's like most superheroes they need to have the villain. You're never not going to have one that's not because of
I'm not saying it doesn't work cinematically because I think it's cool when you have a villain that fits with the character. I'm just saying. If these people were in a real world, why are they cheering for the Avengers? They're the ones that are basically killing the world.
I think you get that coming from seeing so many superhero movies. You're like, wait a minute, this is all just happening over and over and over again because that is happening.
Have you seen Thor? He's a babe.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I don't like Thor, the first movie particularly. It's a running joke with us. That's my least favorite one.
Anyway, we should probably wrap it up. Gotten our general thoughts.
This was one Marvel movie review.
Where would you, before we go, where would you rate it? What are your top 3 Marvel movies?
Oh. Well, this one's definitely not in it.
Really?
It's definitely going to be first Avengers, and then followed by, and they're going to switch places, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I'm pretty much the same with him on that.
Okay, see, I would say Iron Man 1 is my number 1. Probably Avengers number 2, and maybe probably Guardians of the Galaxy number 3. But there's kind of a drop off after those first 2, I think.
Okay. Well, this was just one Marvel review. The next one will be Ant-Man, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'm sure some people look at it and go, meh, but it should be good.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd.
Cool. So we'll see you then.
All right, we're Watch It or Don't.
Thanks for watching.
Be sure to subscribe.